Welcome to the AFT Cycling Podcast. This is cycling from an Irish perspective, and today we'll be looking at the transfer window so far coming up to December 31st. Obviously, October 31st coming upon us now, 2 months left in the transfer window, and it's time to look at what's happened so far to date. We can now all breathe easier as we know Sam Bennett has finally signed his contract that we were wondering, I was wondering at least for quite a long time if he was going to manage to sign a contract for a team that would be up in the World Tour races next year. He's not signed for a pro team, but word came out today at around 2 o'clock that Sam Bennett had penned a 1-year deal until the end of 2026 with Q36.5, a pro team high up in the pro team rankings, but not toward the World Tour rankings. He will be joining Eddie Dunbar, who has a 2-year deal, and potentially joining another Irishman, Rory Townsend, if he manages to extend his contract with this team. For Bennett, he raced the Giro this year and had a couple of top 10 finishes, but was excluded from the Decathlon AG2R Le Mondial team for the Tour de France and was not selected for La Vuelta either. So Q36.5 opens up some opportunities for him, especially after the races that he was picked for, including Tour of Cologne, ending in disaster for him race-wise with crashes and mechanicals, and just a wasn't good season for him. And his 2 years with Decathlon AG2R Le Mondial, he can look back happy enough. He did race the Tour last year, and he was not let do that with Bora Hansgrohe, but still, for Decathlon AG2R Le Mondial, he did not achieve the success he would have wanted. I could not resist putting Sam Bennett first, as he is an Irishman and signed the contract today. Also, we have to look at the big names who we've known for quite a while have signed away. Juan Ayuso ripped up his long-term contract with UAE Emirates to go to Lidl Track, and there was quite a bit of tension between Matej Skelmose, who bet Tadej Pogacar in this year's Amstel Gold Race, who would have been Lidl Track team leader up to now, with Juan Ayuso coming in there and upsetting the dynamic for Matej Skelmose, and also for Mads Pedersen, new Wood runner. Mads Pedersen's on a lifetime contract with Lidl Trek, and he was left out of the Tour de France squad in favour of Jonathan Milan. And although he did have a good Giro d'Italia, he still would have wanted to go to Tour de France. And now with two big GC guys in the Lidl Trek setup, there might not even be space for Milan, let alone Mads Pedersen. We've known now for quite a while that Remco Evenepoel had wanted to wait, and he has confirmed his 1-year deal to Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe for next year. Remco Evenepoel, Olympic road race and time trial champion, and world time trial champion and European time trial champion as well, has moved to Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, but we would wonder for the likes of Alexander Vlasov, Jai Hindley and Primo Roglic what is going to happen here. With 4 big GC guys on the one team, I don't think there's enough room, and I would think that Alexander Vlasov or Jai Hindley especially are going to make room. But Jai Hindley, having won a Grand Tour, same as Primo Roglic, it could be down to Alexander Vlasov to take the step out the door for Remco Evenepoel, because there's not enough room on that team. They're signing away a couple of riders this season, including Ryan Mullen, but they're not GC riders. They're actually time trialists and sprinters that they're getting rid of. Obviously, there's a bit of all kinds of things going on, but from the way I see it, there's going to have to be one of their big GC guys leave the squad, or else it's going to be 2 packed full of GC riders. Well, Kevin Vauquelin is lucky that he got away from the tragedy that is the Arkea B&B Hotels team. The World Tour team, he won them their first and only Tour de France stage in 2024 on stage 2, got away from the peloton, won the day, but now Arkea, he did well in the Tour de France this year, but sadly for all cycling fans, Arkea B&B Hotels is folding from what we believe. so they will not be participating in next year. Anyway, they weren't going to claim World Tour place after the 3-year promotion and relegation battle coming to an end. They were sitting in 21st, so even with this merge that I will talk about later that is potentially happening, we are not quite sure yet. We do think it's happened, but we are not sure. October 15th was the deadline to put in the UCI registrations, but we do not know what happened with Lotto and Intermarché yet, so we will find that out later in the year, potentially December. But for Kevin Vauquelin, he does make a move to Ineos Grenadiers, who are on the up. Team announcement got 2 stage wins in the Tour de France, and Kevin Vauquelin, serious top 10 energy in him, top 10 in the Tour de France, and he raced very, very well throughout the Tour de Suisse against Oscar Onley and Joao Almeida, and he will be one to watch in the next couple of years for Ineos Grenadiers, who are trying to bring themselves back up to the period with Chris Froome, Egan Bernal, mostly when they were Team Sky, but still they would like to get back to that success, which is really UAE now at the moment. Had been Jumbo-Visma for a couple of years, but UAE Emirates XRG are the ones to beat, and Ineos signed a good rider, and for them it could be a win situation. Mathieu Riccitello, he won the white jersey in the La Vuelta this year. The La Vuelta that was hoarded by an angry mob to get the team that he was riding for out of the race, as there was some political stuff that I'm not going to go into here on this podcast, but I do have my opinions on it, but I will not voice them here. But yeah, the name that was under a lot of question is being cut from the squad. The UCI have decided, look, we're not having any of this, gone. So from here on, it's just Premier Tech, because we don't know what the other title sponsor, if they will get any, will be. And for Mathieu Riccitello, signs a deal to Decathlon AG2R Le Mondial. Next year, they're cutting AG2R Le Mondial out of it after years being with Citroën AG2R Le Mondial and now Decathlon AG2R Le Mondial. It's going to be Decathlon CMG CMA, or some weird banking people are coming in, joining Decathlon. Decathlon buying stakes in the team as well, so they own the team essentially as well. So Decathlon really, really in control of this team now. Big name into the sport. This will be their 3rd year next year. They got Mathieu Riccitello, who's a good name. They've got rid of older riders like Sam Bennett, and they're bringing in these new young riders. They have Felix Gall, who did well in the Tour de France this year, remember. Riccitello did very, very well in La Vuelta. So we have all these different riders coming in for Decathlon. These are the money balling situation. We could get a Chelsea FC situation of a couple of years back, where they just buy, and nothing happens. But I think Mathieu Riccitello will be a rider that will bring them on the up. So this is the end of the 3-year promotion and demotion period. So UAE Emirates XRG win by landslide the UCI rankings for the last 3 years. And for Cofidis, Arkea, it's not a good look. They are gone from the World Tour, and that is that for Arkea. They're folding from what we believe. Cofidis, they did not have a good year at all this year. There's no way to sugarcoat what a year they had. It was a horrific year. They won nothing, essentially. But they can't have that 2 years in a row. I believe they will turn it around. I believe they will get going, especially in those races that are not as big as the likes of the UAE Tour and Paris-Nice, but those smaller races. I think they will excel in that. Those breakaway days, that's what they will have to target, because they do not have those GC guys or sprinters. Brian Cockard is not there at the moment. They have to find something. And I know they've signed riders. They've signed Jamie Meehan as well, Irish rider. But they have to find a way to make it work, because for last year it was not working. So also we have a couple of teams up in for the back in that weren't in it before, but we do see there that 18th, I believe, is occupied by Intermarché Wanty, and then if you look up you'll see the Belgian flag, and then across from it Lotto. So Lotto are a Belgian squad as well, and they had many secondary title sponsors as well as Lotto for years and years and years, and this year they were just Lotto and they were struggling with their budget. So it's believed, and obviously we're not sure yet, but it is believed they and Intermarché have merged, which could be a problem for the likes of Biniam Girmay, who will have to compete now with Arnold Lee for stage positions and who will go to this race. And now obviously it does open up a lot of opportunity for the actual team as a team, because they are now stronger, but they're going to have to lay off a lot of riders. It is a chance for the likes of Keith O'Kern, those guys sitting in the background. Remember, Keith O'Kern's Vuelta, not this Vuelta, but last year's Vuelta, that was so good. Like, if they had to sell their riders then, because Movistar decided to come in and buy them, but they could take in a couple of riders that have been outcasted from this new merge, if it is occurring, which I do believe it is, and then they can make it work, and it could be the start of a push for promotion. But funding is a big thing, and some teams just don't have it. So now we're actually on the side where I'm meant to talk about this, and I've already said nearly everything I know. So Lotto and Intermarché are combining into a team that we do not know what it will be yet, or if it is happening, but there was rumours and speculation and talks, so we do believe it's happening, but we are not 100% sure if it's a takeover or a merge. But for Lotto and Intermarché, this will give them greater squad depth if they are able to pick the best fruits from the tree. Essentially, we'll get the best half from this squad, best half from this squad, or just the best riders all together and just throw them together and make a team and make one that works and make one that's strong. Obviously, Lotto have strong riders, Intermarché have strong riders, and if they can combine those strong riders, they could have great teams going toward Tour de France, Giro, Vuelta, even those 1 week races, like Paris, Tour de Suisse, Tour Romandie, Criterium, the Dauphiné, all those, and also like even the 1 day races. Arnaud Lee is very good. Biniam Girmay won one this year, actually out sprinting Arnaud Lee at the start of the season, I think, up a climb as well, which is quite surprising for the Lee. He would usually be the best up a climb, but there's that element of tension in there. They send 8 riders to every race. You can have a maximum of 30 riders, and they have more than 30 riders, so they're definitely going to have to do big cutting the squads. It makes sense for them to still ride on Orbea, because Intermarché's deal with Cube is ending anyway at this year before we knew anything about this. So it would make sense for this team to stay with Orbea, because Lotto are contracted to Orbea until 2028. So it would make sense for that. We do not know anything else. I do not know anything else. Obviously the team knows stuff that they're not letting the general public know, but we will try to find out more on that. But opens up a space as well. They were both top 18 teams in this ranking, and who's going to get in now is a big question. So who will take 18th spot on the World Tour is a huge question. Obviously, people would think it should go to UNOX Mobility, because they were 19th, which is one place behind. Because if these two teams come together, then there's only 17 in the World Tour, and that's not how it's meant to be. So it makes sense for UNOX to get in, but it might not happen that way. We do not know how it's happening yet. But there could be a bidding phase that the teams just throw money at the UCI to see who gets in, to show their capacity of their budget or something. I don't know. That's one of the things that was detailed that it could be. Obviously, it could be just a continuation of points. But when Intermarché got in instead of Triple C, that was bidding, I think, not points. And Arkea in 21st, obviously Cofidis there in 20th. They did beat Arkea, even though Arkea had good results in the last 2 years, but Arkea were nowhere before that. Cofidis had been around the last 2 years previously to this year, and then fell off. And it shows there that Cofidis did fall off. Arkea, they're falling from what we know, and obviously they've let most of their best riders go, so there should be a lot of riders floating around here without contracts, and this could bring on the top 5 or so pro teams into next year and the next 3 years. Definitely a lot more competition around the bottom. There was a lot of competition around the bottom anyway, but the teams got it done. And also Tudor Pro Cycling in 22nd, they can make it in if it is a bidding. Obviously it makes sense for UNOX to get in, but that's maybe not how it works yet. We don't know, so we'll have to see how this handles. But Tudor have a good, they have Hiroshi and Alaphilippe this year. I'm not sure if they're still under contract. I would believe Alaphilippe is still under contract. I'm not quite sure about Mark Hiroshi. He had a great year with UAE in 2024. 2025 wasn't great with Tudor, but Alaphilippe had some good races with Tudor this year, and we'll have to see how it goes. So there will be more transfer news. Obviously, transfers go right the way up to the end of the year. So I will be calling in with more stuff. Sorry about not being there for the Vuelta or anything. It was a long break I took of 2 months, so it was not an intentional break, just so you know. It was very forgetful of me to forget to do it. So I will be back for more updating on this. Cyclocross World Cup as well. I'm not covering Exact Cross, Telenet Supercross or whatever it's called. I can't remember what it was last year. I think it changes every year. And those other X2Os, no, I'm not covering them. UCI Cyclocross World Cup I will cover. No race in the Republic of Ireland this year for the UCI Cyclocross World Cup, so pretty annoying that. But anyway, we'll go on to next year, and hopefully we'll see some road races on the calendar as well as some CX. So we'll see you then. And thanks for watching, and thanks for being tuned, and I'll try get going with more in-depth analysis of this and try not forget. So we'll see.